part of acute inflammation, that is chemical mediators, different types of inflammation, etc. First, chemical mediators, just a short schematic representation. So, chemical mediators can be divided into different groups. There are usually two distinct types of differentiation, either by the preformed or newly synthesized. So, some mediators are preformed, so they will be present already within the cells, and some are synthesized. That means they will be synthesized as a result of impulse that is reaching to the cells. So what is the difference between these? The preformed one will be released as soon as there will be injury. The synthesized one will be released a gap after the injury. And yet we have already mentioned you that there is a first immediate vasoconstriction, that is neural phenomenon, followed by transient vasodilation, followed by prolonged vasodilation. The immediate transient vasodilation occurs as a result of preformed mediators, whereas the prolonged vasodilation occurs as a result of synthesized mediators. And then again they can be divided into two. Either it can be cell derived or it can be plasma derived. Cell derived means they are the products of different cells. What are the cells? Acute inflammatory cells. Predominantly the macrophages, that is neutrophil, eosinophil and basophil. To some extent lymphocytes as well as monocytes. But if somebody will ask what is the cell of acute inflammation, you must mention neutrophil, and then along with other cells. Then there will be also mast cells, there will be also endothelial cells, and there will be also surrounding epithelial cells. These cells also come into the release of different active chemical mediators, and so there will be synergistic action surrounding this. And what are these are the cell derived and plasma derived. Plasma derived, some substances which are already present in the plasma, like complements, like kinase system proteins, like different proteins of coagulation proteins. So all these things are present in some inactive condition in the blood. And whenever there will be appropriate stimulation, acute inflammation is an appropriate stimulation, so that will activate the complement pathway, that will activate the clotting pathway, that will activate the kinase pathway, and so there will be rather formation of the active end substances, and that active end substances will help in control of the inflammation. Okay. Now what are the substances? These are the preformed substances which will be released instantly with injury, present within the cells. They will be present also in the epithelial cells, present in the mast cells particularly, and basophils. So, and the serotonin will be also coming from the nerve endings. So, what they will cause? They will cause vasodilation. Immediate vasodilation, and also there can be bronchoconstriction. Bronchoconstriction, that is smooth muscle contraction and vasodilation. So these two are the features of histamine and also this serotonin. These are the preformed substances. Next are the arachidonic acid derivatives. Arachidonic acids are essential fatty acids. So they will be present in the lipid layer of the outer cell membrane of all cells. So whenever there will be any injury, then there will be cellular injury to the outer lipid membrane, and there will be activation of cyclooxygenase, and also there will be activation of phospholipase, and as a result of this phospholipase there will be liberation of arachidonic acid. Then either by the cyclooxygenase pathway or by the lipoxygenase pathway, this arachidonic acid will be broken down. If it is cyclooxygenase pathway, there will be formation of prostaglandins. If there is a lipoxygenase pathway, there will be formation of lipoxin and leukotrienes. Now prostaglandins will cause vasodilation, smooth muscle some prostaglandins will cause smooth muscle contraction and some will cause relaxation, and there will be also fever and pain sensation. Whereas leukotrienes will cause bronchospasm and vasospasm. So there will be some alternating action between these two, and depending upon the immediate condition which is required, either there will be predominantly cyclooxygenase pathway or there will be predominantly lipoxygenase pathway. So you just remember, they will come from the lipid bilayer of the epithelium by the activation of the enzyme phospholipase. So there will be formation of these arachidonic acids, and from arachidonic acids they can either go into the lipoxygenase pathway or go into the cyclooxygenase pathway, and they will yielding either leukotrienes or prostaglandins, which have sometimes inhibitory actions over each other. One will cause prolonged vasoconstriction, leukotrienes. One will cause vasodilation, that is prostaglandins. These prostaglandins are responsible for the late prolonged dilation of the blood vessels. Late prolonged blood vessels of the dilation occurring as a result of this arachidonic acid derivative. And in different arachidonic acid pathway there are different enzymes. Like we have already told you about three enzymes: phospholipase, the lipoxygenase, and the cyclooxygenase. And there will be some drugs which can act over those enzymes and can alter the inflammatory procedure. The anti-inflammatory drugs, most of the painkillers, they will act over those cyclooxygenase pathway or phospholipase pathway, and then they will inhibit the inflammation. Okay? So this is a cell-derived synthesized mediator. Cell-derived synthesized mediator. Arachidonic acid metabolites. Nitric oxide, this is also another important chemical mediator which will be synthesized by the endothelial cells mainly, as well as the macrophages and also the platelets. So these nitric oxide will cause vasodilation. Nitric oxide, whenever that will be present in sufficient concentration, there will be vasodilation, and it will also can cause other inflammatory reactions. Different cells will liberate a lot of interleukins. Interleukin 1 to interleukin 27, different types of interleukins are there, and chemokines and cytokines. These are locally active hormones. They are liberated by one cell. They either stimulate that cell or stimulate the surrounding cells in order to become active. So they will act over the surrounding cells and will stimulate those cells to take part into the process of inflammation. These are the cytokines and chemokines. Then there can be also platelet activating factor. This platelet activating factor is also a pleiotropic inflammatory mediator, and they are also released by the endothelial cells and also by the macrophages, and they can play an important part in the pro-inflammation. Then there are some plasma derived substances. One is complements. So there are 9 proteins C1 to C9 which are present in an inactivated form. They will be activated by a classical pathway or by a alternative pathway. So in inflammation usually it is that they are activated by classical pathway or they can be also activated by immune mediated pathway. So there will be formation of active products which will destroy the cells as well as the different organisms and which will also promote chemotaxis, which will promote phagocytosis and which will cause also vasodilation. So all these functions can be performed by different components of the complement. So this system will give rise to liberation of the bradykinin, which is a powerful vasodilator. So bradykinin will be produced from the kinin system. They are again present as inactive form in the plasma and during inflammation they will be activated. And lastly, the last system is the clotting. There are also 13 clotting factors. They will be also activated by the classical pathway or alternate pathway, and they when will become active, they will release different substances, particularly fibrin degradation product, fibrinogen, and also there are different. So these are very important mediators of inflammation. So all these substances will give rise to increase in the inflammatory group. So what are the decreasing agents? There are lipoxins and there are also substance P which will cause dampening of the inflammation. So whenever there will be active inflammation, there will be liberation of those substances. They will check the inflammation, and the greatest checking event will come from the removal of the cause. Acute inflammation, whenever it will be possible, it will can cause remove the cause, the bacteria, the substance, then the inflammation will be checked. So that is the control of inflammation. Then different morphological types. There are different morphological types of acute inflammation, and that depends predominantly upon the type of exudate that is producing. It can be serous. So the exudate will become just watery, just slightly thicker than water, but it will become watery. Then serofibrinous. So it will become thick because there will be a lot of protein will be attached to it. So it will become serofibrinous. It can be purulent when there will be plenty of pus cells are occurring. Purulent inflammation you can see, that is you can see the small abscess occurring at the end of the nail bed. So you can see that there is a tip and it becomes white, and that is a purulent exudate because there will be plenty of pus cells and WBCs there. So it can be a purulent exudate. It can be a serous exudate. It can be a serofibrinous exudate. It can be a purulent exudate, or it can be a gangrenous inflammation. And finally, it can convert into a chronic inflammation when the mechanism cannot be resolved. So what are the cores? Normally, acute inflammation is self-limited. Whenever the offending cause will be removed, the acute inflammation will be checked. But in some instances, it can go unchecked and can give rise to chronic inflammation. There can be also other complications like abscess formation, like localized collection of fluid, like infection can be unchecked and can be spread all over the body, releasing sepsis. So this is in short the course of acute inflammation. Thank you very much.